Rachel,
And I'm Amanda.
and this is episode 46 of Books and Bingos. This week, we're talking about romance books for middle school students at the request of our listener, Crystal. Thanks, Crystal, for the recommendation. Amanda, I'm sure you were excited for this one because it's romance. I wasn't sure how I would feel about it being like middle school because I feel like I'm even, like, I do like YA, but I wasn't sure how I'd feel about middle school romance because of the level of romance. Like, is it really romance or is it just like close friends, you know?
Yeah, so my friend Lori Lieberman, she is a librarian in Oregon, and she talks about romance. Like that's like her thing is to fight the patriarchy and read romance. So I've heard her, heard her on podcasts, on NPR, on at conferences, and she said that the idea of middle grade romance gave her the ick, right? But she finally started getting, reading some, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, yes!" Like think Sweet Valley High,
Yeah,
think, all of the, Babysitters Club where it was, like that sweet little crush,
yeah,
holding hands, peck on the cheek, that
yes,
kind of thing. It's
yes.
exactly, I think, what we all, had some sort of experience with when we were in middle school. Some of us a little earlier than that, but it's definitely one of those that's like relatable and
Yeah.
not too, it's nothing inappropriate. It's sweet and wholesome, you know?
Absolutely. And as like an adult, you're thinking like, is this an appropriate thing? But I absolutely remember this is what I wanted to read when I was that age.
Yes.
Like this is absolutely what I wanted to read. I wanted to be like a high school kid and think about like relationships and read about these cute little things. So I love that we do have middle grade appropriate romance books for these girls who I'm sure are going to eat these up. I love it.
And that we're in middle school and we have so many kids that aren't ready for some of the YA romance that we have on our shelves. And they're not, and so we need something that's kind of in the middle, that's not too cheesy,
Yeah.
but not too advanced, So it's that fine line to walk in middle grade, in middle school.
Yeah. All right, take us away with your first pick.
Okay. So I read As You Wish by Nasha Jones. Hold on, pause. I don't know how to say her name.
Naisha?
Nasha, hold on. Nasha
Is this an
pronouns.
allusion to the Princess Bride?
Yeah, hold on. Let me see what it says. Bro, hold on. Dang it. Nasha. Oh, Nashi. Hold on. Nasha. Good Lord. This is not right. Where do you,
Nashae?
I, well, there's too many dang ways to say it. How to pronounce Nashae. You're right. Nashae.
Nashae. Okay.
Okay, let me write that. Hold on. Because I be forgetting.
Like, nuh-uh.
Nashae. I'm so sad. The Oscars is on right now and they're doing a Wicked melody. And so I'm gonna have
Oh
to watch it when
no.
it's over. It's gonna be like 10 minutes. I'm so excited. Okay. So start over.
Okay. Like
No,
from the
not the show.
Oh, I would
No,
say, oh my
just no,
goodness.
no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. I meant like my part.
Okay.
Okay. So the book I picked is As You Wish by Nashae Jones. And the way I kind of pitch it to some of my students is 13 going on 30 meets It's a Wonderful Life. It is a middle grade time loop romance, which I love a time loop storyline. So this follows Birdie, and she believes eighth grade is her year. She is getting herself a boyfriend. And she wants the boyfriend not for like usual reasons. She wants it to to have kids see her as quote unquote normal, okay? Because they don't all see her that way. She is a little bit of an odd duck. And she and her best friend, and he's also her neighbor, Dev, do everything together. So of course she wants to get boyfriends and girlfriends together. She wants him to get a girlfriend and she can have a boyfriend and they can all be super normal and typical eighth grade kids. But she doesn't get it when he gets upset with her about this. When the West African god Anansi appears to her in the form of a tween named Nancy, Birdie learns that she gets three wishes. So as she goes through each of these wishes that she's learning about herself, she realizes how great her life already is. But it does take us some time to get there. And Dev is such a great green flag boyfriend in this. Like, so we don't obviously like he's her neighbor, he's her best friend, but in some of her wishes, she is in a different life where they didn't know each other at all. And so she I think seeing that life and knowing that she does not want a life like that, she starts to kind of see him in a different way. So think um I think that Nashae Jones is quickly becoming like a top author in this genre. She wrote Courtesy of Cupid, and she included West African culture in that one. And there was also a little bit of crossover from that book to this one. I wouldn't necessarily call it a series, but you could if you're working on that bingo square. But I believe it's such a unique book for this age group, and they're going to be obsessed with it. So this title is out now. The content warnings would be OCD, bullying, divorce, cyberbullying, and the squares would be 2025 release, BIPOC women rep, romance, black rep, retelling because it includes Anansi and a female author. You could even, I think, stretch it to romantasy because it has that romantic element as well as some fantasy with the time loops and things like that. The yearly challenge, it would fit diverse or queer retelling and read a romantasy if you wanted to go even that far with it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
I love when they bring in like unique culture for these things.
yes,
I
me
think
too.
a fun way to learn about it, and as
Right.
opposed to like more like a textbook fashion to read about it in this fictional case. That's a lot of fun.
No, you're good. I was just saying, I really loved it. Go.
My first pick is very food centric, and I'm super excited. It's already out now. I got it off my Scholastic Book Fair. It's called Taco Tuesdays by Monica Mancillas. It's a middle grade foodie romance, I would say appropriate for fifth grade and up. We get a dual POV, so we have our main female character who is a local, and she has grown up having a family restaurant, but the restaurant is now struggling to make ends meet, and they're not really sure where their future is. We also have a new boy in town who's struggling with family drama. He ended up moving here because his parents were kind of split up at the time and his mom wanted a fresh start. And he reluctantly ends up teaming up with our main female character to try to save their restaurant when they have this summer camp there to earn some extra money. And I absolutely loved it. I loved all the food content. I was starving through this whole thing because they just make all this delicious food. And I think it really just had such good content. Like sometimes I feel like romances can be shallow, and sometimes that's what you need. But to be a really, really good, well-rounded book, it cannot just be the romance. And that was definitely what we got with this here. We got so much. We got the family drama of like divorce. We have the family drama with the restaurant. We have this idea of gentrification with people wanting to buy the restaurant and this new like chain taco place moving in across the street competing with them. We also had some microaggressions happening here that we got to like hear them talk through. So I just think this was such a fantastic book, and I absolutely love the romance element. It was so stinking cute. So I highly recommend this one. Content warning for divorce drama, gentrification, and microaggressions and racism. It's not a big part, but the main one I can think of is they referred to our main character as Taco. But it was kind of explained that that can be offensive and racist. So we moved past that, and I really liked that being on the page. So we get to see that work through. Squares would be romance, 2025 release, and a female author. Again, I highly recommend this, but you're gonna have to go get some Mexican food while you read it.
Yes, like I am so like you I think you called this one a while ago that you wanted to read it and I was like, "Dang it." Because I also have had it on my radar and I am so excited to read it. It is in my Scholastic Book Fair that starts next week. And so I was like, oh, yes, I'm going to grab it.
Yes.
Because it's just, I think it's also going to resonate with like my students in Texas to see themselves, but then also like other students around the country for them to see other cultures and be, learn from them and be inspired by them. So that sounds amazing.
Well, and as we mentioned before, it's the kids have other things going on in their lives and they're dealing with a lot of their parents' stuff. So it's really nice to see our characters work through that so the kids see that they aren't alone, it's not just them having issues. So I think that this one's just so well done. I was blown away by this one. I absolutely loved it.
Oh, I love that.
Yay! So tell me
Um,
about your next pick.
Yeah, so my next one is called The Wish Switch by Lynn Painter. If you know anything about Lynn Painter, she is like a romance diva and she has adult romance, she has young adult romance, and this is her first foray into middle grade romance. So I obviously went into it a little bit like is she going to make this work? Like, how is this going to, feel? Because I'm obsessed with her. I read everything she writes the second it comes out. So this was an upper middle grade, I will say. So I'm going to put this in a middle school library for sure. It is an upper middle grade romance that also includes some magical realism. And it follows Emma, who has heard the lore stories from her grandmother all growing up. And now it's time to like test them out. So, like in her family, her grandma would always tell like these magical stories, and she doesn't really know if they're real or not. But on the fourth day of the fourth month, Emma sneaks away from a field trip with her two best friends, and they each make four wishes. So I feel like with our books, right, wishes seem to be a theme. And so I think that is so funny um because it's just really interesting the idea of wanting your heart's desire and then realizing maybe that's not what you wanted at all. So Emma's brother and new kid Jackson decide to crash their wishing well time and it almost ruins everything. So now it's 4 months later. Are we seeing a theme? And Emma's best friend's wishes are coming true. Even Jackson seems to have changed overnight. And Emma quickly realizes that the things she wished for are happening to Jackson. So she has to like determine, like, I want my wishes back, sir. And so, how do we make that happen? Because you are blonde and you have had like a glow up and you are all the things that she wanted are happening to him. So she's not happy about it. So this is the genre that I keep talking about. I believe it to be upper middle grade and lower YA for those who want the romance. Okay. So this one is definitely going to fit that seventh through ninth grade that want the romance, but not too much and not too cheesy. It is the perfect mix of young love and friendship and then lots of magic. This one releases on May 13th. It's going to have content warnings of parental abandonment, divorce, grief, death of a grandparent, which is off page. And the squares are 2025 release, romance, romantasy, and female author. There isn't anything in the yearly challenge, but I loved it. I did. And I don't know why I was so worried at all because she did such a great job hitting that age group that I'm obsessed with targeting um, in the library because kids want it, but we don't have a whole lot of it in publishing.
I think it's really funny that both of yours had Wish in the title. Neither of
Yes,
mine had Wish in the title, but they're from a series called the Wish series. So it all just ties in so well together.
it does.
All right, so my next book is Keep It Together, Keiko Carter by Debbi, Michiko, Florence. And this one has been on the shelves of my library for a while, and the cover has just drawn me in over and over. I don't know why, but I'm a sucker for books with names in the title as well. So when this topic came up, I thought now's my time. I'm gonna read this one. So I grabbed it off our shelf and I listened to the audiobook, and it was Like the first like chapter or two, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to like this. But as soon as I really kind of deep dived into it and we got going, I loved this book. So we got a diverse middle grade romance. We have probably fifth grade and up readers would be fine. And at the start of seventh grade, Keiko has three best friends and three enemies. However, as the year progresses, she finds herself trying to hold her friendships and her home life together. The lines of friendships blur, and she finds out that she can't always keep things the same, and some of those relationships change. Absolutely adorable. How am I jealous of middle school relationships right now? It was so stinking cute. And it's just, it, again, like I said before, it's just so real. It feels realistic. I think it's going to be exactly what the kids want to read, because it does, like, it feels like the characters are reading older than they are, but that's what I wanted when I was in like sixth grade, seventh grade. I wanted to read like I was in high school. I wanted to feel like that. So it's not inappropriate in that way. It just seems like I feel like the seventh and eighth graders are not going to be quite this mature, but that's great for these kids to read about like much more, well, not much more, the kids to read about a little bit more mature audience. And I loved it. I loved everything about this. I love the romance. I love too the idea of boundary setting. I feel like that is was actually even said at one point of like trying to set boundaries and really decide which friendships are healthy and which ones aren't. So I think this book had just so many good things going for it, and I absolutely loved it. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Content warnings for toxic relationships and racism. Squares would be romance and female author. Absolutely read it. I know there's a second one in this series that talks about one of the friends, so I'm excited to read that. I absolutely would not read a book about the third friend, though. Hint, hint, because toxic relationship. But I'm still very excited to read that about our other character, Jenna. Couldn't recommend this more. I'm excited to go back to school and recommend this until everybody is tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, I loved both of these, and honestly, like for so long I've been calling her like the queen of middle grade romance because she was really the one that I noticed. Like I'm glad that more authors are coming out with books in this age group. Um but yeah, like she was doing it a while before other people started. So I love that she has other titles like Sweet and Sour is one of my favorites, and This Is How I Roll. Like those all have like great themes and then also have that romance piece that we really like and like our kids like and they're asking for it. So
Yes. And this is one I'm going to give them immediately from now on. I love it.
yay.
And those are our recommendations for the week. Thanks for the suggestion for the theme. If you have questions, suggestions, or comments, reach out on social media at Books and Bingos or email us at booksandbingos@gmail.com. Thanks for listening and join us again next week where we'll be recommending diverse retellings. Happy reading!